How about you?
Yes, we were able to have a nice time. Thankfully, we had my mum over for Christmas itself. She went home the day after Boxing Day, and basically we just sort of hunkered down and, pulled up the drawbridge, if you like, at that point, and just taking it easy and keeping inside and away from people as much as we can.
Yeah.
See how we get on. Yeah, see how we get on. Bless you. So, how have things been with you, business wise and courses wise, and some of the stuff we talked about last time? Fill me in. Let me know how you've been getting on.
Yeah. So been playing around with Member Vault and sort of planning what I wanted to do with the course and getting some content done. So I've been quite pleased. Sort of having a bit more focus and getting quite a bit done, but then I'm also aware that it's the first course that I'm putting together, so it might take me a little bit longer than I think to get it how I want it. I've done recordings and then got some feedback on it and things to do better and stuff, so I don't mind if it's going to take me a little bit longer with the first one, just because it's things like working out, getting the video in the right format and the sound okay and like little bits like that. And I was struggling a bit with the Member Vault, how I make it look, how I want it to look. And I wasn't sure exactly how to find out more in that way, but was just trying to play around with it. I mean, it does seem to be very user friendly, but I'm just trying to get to grips with it.
Okie dokie. Alrighty. How have you found potentially looking at the Member Vault help stuff? Have you found that being any help at all, or is it not proving to be particularly great?
Yeah, no, I have. I have found it helpful. And I've joined the Facebook group, which is just lots of people that are using Member Vault asking questions. It's just things like, because the psychology course I did for coaches was also on that platform, and just how they use pictures and things, I suppose, so how it looks for people taking my course, and I'm just a bit not sure how to make it look the same and previewing it and things like that.
Okay, so one of the things that if you've already discovered it on Member Vault, then stop me in my tracks, but something that you could think about is, if when you are creating a product, if you create one product, so first course, with the information and the layout that you want, when you look at the trying to think of the right words here, hang on a minute, when you look at the Sheena, can't make the words come out my mouth. The dashboard, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And you look at the dashboard and you look at the list of products. When you do that, what you'll see is there is not only a little edit button, but there's a little like a gear wheel for each of the products that you've listed.
Okay.
That little gear wheel will allow you to copy the product. So once you get the layout sorted out, you can just repeat it each time.
Yeah, so, well, that's what I thought. A lot of it is going to be the first time it's going to be harder, but actually as time goes on, it will all be in place. Because I've managed to get it like the right colour and I've got my logo on there and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And I suppose it's also understanding a bit more about getting the images that I want to use and what images I am allowed to use and things like sort of being clever with that kind of thing. I don't know very much about that.
So I would say to begin with that, to try and keep it as simple as you possibly can, so you can get this up and released sooner rather than later. Yeah. One of the things that's really easy to kind of get sucked into, if you like, is wanting everything to be perfect when you start. Yeah. But if you keep waiting for things to be exactly spot on right, you're going to be waiting a very long time.
You're probably never. Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to do because you're just thinking, oh, I could do this, I could do that, that kind of thing, and it's like, okay, take a small step back and think, it's the first product. Am I happy with how it looks right now? And if the answer to that is yes, then go with it and ask people for feedback, because I think that's going to be easier for you to be able to action than attempting to pre-think all of the things that might need doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing to think about is when you are looking at, uploading video and things like that, there's actually very little that you can do to change how Member Vault deals with it, because it takes the links from YouTube. Those links to YouTube are particular dimensions and particular quality of image and of footage. There's nothing that you can change about that in Member Vault, and to be honest, there's not really much point trying to change it in YouTube either, because trying to get YouTube to do things that it doesn't want to do by default is an absolute nightmare. And just go round and round in circles with it quite a lot of the time. So with regards to the content, how far away do you think you are with getting the content finished?
Not far. I've done 2 out of 3 of the videos that I wanted to do for it, and then I've got all the written content. So yeah, content wise, it's nearly there.
Cool. Awesome. Okay.
And so again, it's little things like I had the window open when I did one of the videos, so the sound isn't quite as good as I'd want it to be, but I suppose it's sort of learning things like that again, and realizing that then you think, oh, my sound doesn't sound as consistent as a lot of the videos do, and I've never really thought about that. But it's just getting used to, I suppose, and trying to, well, I'll shut the window next time. But.
Yeah. Every day's a school day. But I think the other side of this, just to remember at this stage, is that the fact that you might have a little bit of background noise or something like that, it's actually it almost highlights the authenticity of what you're doing. That it's you're not sitting in a very sterile environment, with somebody filming you or what have you. This is you, sharing your knowledge from the heart, getting it out there in front of people, and actually that can be quite endearing. Some of the things that you might well be seeing, particularly if you're in the Facebook collaborative group for Member Vault, is where people have got video content and it just all feels really plastic. It's all very very scripted, and it's all very highly stylized, and that actually can be a little bit off-putting, because the key focus here is that what you're wanting to do is to pass across the information that you've got, and you want to do that in a way that's easy for you to share and that can have monetized elements to it. The time to start looking at making further changes to improve the quality of things going forward, I personally think, will be when you start to get this creating an income stream, because then it can fund itself, and then you can think about you can get these sort of little noise deadening booth type things that you could sit in. But to be frank with you, Louise, I don't know that I'd bother. I never have, and certainly just this morning I was foresighting at the Nottingham and Derby group this morning, and in the middle of my foresight, there was a delivery at the door. My cat came into my home office with half a dead mouse, and it's just that whole thing. If you just think that is the authentic, version of what it's like to work from home and create this stuff from home. So I wouldn't worry too much about getting it absolutely perfect at this point. Okay. What I think you could do, as I say, is get that last video recorded and then think about how you're going to launch it and what you want to achieve from the launch. So Have you got a date in mind at the moment about when you might want to release it into the world?
Well, I thought I could probably realistically have it all done and ready by next Friday.
Okay.
And then my plan was to, because we talked about sort of giving it to 10 people for free for testimonials.
Yeah. I'm scribbling, sorry. Yeah, okay.
That's all right. So that was sort of what I was thinking. And I wondered about, because obviously we talked about charging 50, but I've done one online sort of talk, and then I'm doing another one beginning of Feb, which had been for £5. And I wondered whether basing it on that with 6 modules would be 30, and whether that would be sort of more for the first one and sort of more appealing to people and a better starting point sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, in the nicest sense, pricing is up to you. What you need to actually be clear about is that, you know, once this product goes live, barring a few, you know, little tweaks on the back of, you know, the 10 people that you put it in front of for free for the testimonials and their feedback, and you might, you know, they might come back with a couple of changes that you need to make, that this is then potentially going to be a rinse and repeat revenue stream. So, you know, if you feel that £30 is enough, oh, Sheena, is enough, and by that I mean it's a fine balance between making something very achievable and affordable and making it almost cheapening it. So I said I don't think I would go any lower than 30, but I think, you know, if you're more comfortable with that as a price point, then great, absolutely great, do that. And I think that the key thing with all of that is then when you're thinking about the marketing prior to launch, which I'll come back to in a second, is that you talk purely about the value that people will get from it, so that you're creating this idea that £30 is an astonishingly good price. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you think you could get all the content done by next week, what I would suggest, if I was in your position with that, is that you then have, in the last week of January, have your little tester panel doing what you want them to do. You know, just saying, going to give you access to this for free. I'd love your feedback, and I'd love you to, you know, to give me some testimonials, etc. Think about how long you would want them to be doing that for. Okay. So, you know, for example, you think, right, yes, I'm done and dusted on the 22nd, so I can give people access to this from the 25th. How long would you want to give them access to it for, with regards to you waiting for the feedback and to make any changes? So I would say either 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
In which case then you're looking at sort of mid-February.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that sounds reasonable and doable.
Yeah.
Then it also gives you time to start to pre-market it. So whilst your people are testing it effectively for you, that's when you can start to do some pre-marketing for your launch, for the actual launch. That's where you start to talk about the great value that's in the product. And because it's modular, you've got some great opportunities to talk about individual modules in the course.
Right.
So throw a module at me. Give me a module title.
One's about building rapport.
Okay. So if you're thinking about that particular model and thinking about that in a marketing kind of sense, you know, you could, I really am having trouble with my teeth today, aren't I? It's just thinking, okay, so what normally is the problem? Normally, I'm assuming that the problem is that, you know, people struggle to build a rapport with their animal that gives them a good experience. Why is that? you will know some of the main reasons why sometimes people struggle to create that rapport. So if you start from the pain point, do you struggle with? Do you have trouble doing? Would you like advice on? So you're starting there, and then effectively you're telling them how this module will help them solve the problem.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and I've definitely seen things like that.
Yeah. So what you're trying to do there is, it's not necessarily just saying, oh, I've got this great course that's going to launch in the middle of February. It's got 6 modules and one of them's about building rapport. Yes, and so it's then thinking, okay, what actually is this designed to do? It's designed to help people understand how to do this. So it's solving the problem of them not understanding how to build good rapport. So by looking at the modules and thinking, what problem does this module help people solve, or at least put some skills, knowledge and information in place to help them start to solve it? That's a much, much easier hook for people to think, yeah, that's me. That's definitely me. Because start from the pain point, the hook words, if you like, is, if this sounds familiar, if this is you, then my course, of which building rapport is just one model, is absolutely what you need. You can find out more about it here. And, and that's where you have possibly a little pinned Facebook post or a little bit on your website that doesn't give people access to it yet, but tells them more about what the course is and when it's going to be available. So you're just drip feeding that in, not massive overwhelm, but at least a post a day whilst it's being tested and you're getting that feedback together.
Okay.
So that you're raising awareness of it. Your audience are already, by the time you're halfway through the testing, your audience are hopefully already starting to think, when's this thing coming live then? Because I really want to get booked onto this. I want to get these modules underway.
Would you sort of say email if you're interested, or?
Yes, so there's 2 ways you could do that, really. I can't remember because it was a little while since we spoke last. Do you use Office 365, Louise?
I'm just looking at my Office. How do I know if it's Office 365?
If you go, what have you got open at the moment?
PowerPoint.
Okay, right, I'll just go into PowerPoint so I can tell you. So if you look at PowerPoint, you look at the left-hand side of the screen.
Yeah.
I'm looking at just where you start off. Let me open a presentation. Hold on. Right, and go to File. And down at the bottom of the File window in the bottom left-hand corner, do you see the word Account?
Yeah.
Okay, if you give that a click, then on the right-hand side of that screen, what I'm hoping is that it will say subscription product Microsoft 365 or something like that.
It's 2013. Microsoft Office Professional Plus, which is probably not quite what we need.
No, okay, so no, it's not. And the reason I'm asking is, so you have a version of Microsoft Office 2013 that's been installed from a disk, and that's absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. What you might want to consider, though, is upgrading to Office 365. The reason why I'm saying that is that one of the things that you can do with an Office 365 account is create online forms. So, which is exactly what you filled in, and thank you very much for the coaching feedback.
Okay,
so instead of people emailing you and you having to keep track of all the emails, what you could do is create a pre-registration form. If you'd like to, pre-book your course, follow this link and put the details in here. I have Office 365 for business, and it costs me the princely sum of about £10 a month.
Okay, so you can buy it online.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And one of the real benefits to that genuinely is because it's cloud-based, so the installation's cloud-based, but it also automatically updates. So you never have that problem of out-of-date software. So it would be worth having a look at just for some of the additional functionality that you could have.
Yeah.
Microsoft Forms being one of them.
Yeah.
Because it is quite useful, to be able to have that kind of facility. But certainly in the meantime, what you could do is, to ask people to email with a particular subject line so that it's easier for you to keep track.
Yeah. Okay.
Until you decide what you're going to do. But I would suggest having a little look.
Yeah, Office 365.
At Office 365, because there's bags of things in there that are add-ons that can actually be really useful. The other one I use is bookings. So when you booked your free taster session, that's also part of Office 365. So that talks to my calendar so that when people go to book either 40 seconds coaching for networking, free taster sessions or what have you, it will only show them the times that I've got available in my calendar. And that is a godsend.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, I don't have to worry about it. It just talks to Outlook and, and just keeps itself updated all the time. So there's some definite benefits, I think, in there that be worth having a think about.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And then I think the next thing to think about is, what do you want the first launch to achieve? So by that, I mean, how many people do you want to buy that course when you initially start to put it out there in the world? Have you got a figure in your head?
Well, I suppose because we had about 20 who came along to our talk, so probably starting with something like that.
Okay. Alrighty. I'm scribbling, sorry.
That's all right.
Here we go. So if you want 20 to be your initial purchasers, if you like, is then thinking, okie doke, so how am I going to make it really, really easy for those 20 people to feel like they really need to buy? They need to be the ones to get on board first. A couple of things that you can think about are, hiccups, pre-registered bonus or some sort of a free offer. So my membership site's going live at the beginning of next month. What I'm doing, and I'm starting to do my pre-launch marketing now, what I'm doing is saying the first 10 people to sign up for this particular version or level of membership are going to get a free goodie bag.
Okay.
Now, the reason I'm doing that is twofold. The time impact is very low. I've not got to spend time creating more content or anything like that. It's stuff I've already got. So, all the stuff that normally I would have been giving away hand over fist at face-to-face networking meetings that's just been sat in a drawer for the last 10 months. It's that sort of thing. So the reason I'm going into that level of detail is if you're thinking, okay, so the first 20 people to buy this course, you want to incentivize them. If you're going to do a free something, that free something needs to cost you either nothing or extremely little.
Yeah.
So, it would be either things you already have, as I've talked about there, or maybe there is some additional content that you would be able to produce very quickly that they get as a bonus. So that's one way of doing it is, the first 20 to pre-register / book get something either for free or bonus something. What I always say to people at this point is, don't be tempted to try and offer a discount on anything, because you need to be able to see if the product has enough pull without any discount around it.
Okay.
Because those can come later, in that, once you start to get some traction on your online courses, that's the time to start to think about things like loyalty schemes or referral schemes.
Yeah.
But but to begin with, you need, it's very much, Louise, like licking your finger and sticking it in the air and thinking, right, okay, which way's the wind blowing with this one today? Let's see how it, how this works before I start to invest any more time or money in it. So that you think, okay, right, you might find, and I very much hope you do, that when you come to actually get this out there and say it's now available to purchase, that you get flattened in the rush. But a lot of that is about making sure that you are keeping that product really, really visible and making it easy for people to know where you're going to be to talk about it.
Yeah.
So I'm scribbling.
Does it sort of, because I had thought having a Facebook group for the people who sign up, and then I didn't know whether to try and offer Facebook Lives sort of at a certain weekly or monthly or anything like that.
It's a real swings and roundabouts conversation, because Facebook groups are great as long as you've got the ability to add lots of great content into it.
Yeah.
So it's another thing. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's not a thing that you should consider, but the way that you might want to consider doing it is not launching it at the same time as the product, but spending a few weeks getting content in there or scheduling content in there, so that when people start to, it's all right, my brain is going in one direction as my mouth is going in the other. So what I'm thinking here is, I sign up for your course and it's 6 modules.
Yeah.
When I finish your course is when I get asked if I'd like to join the Facebook group.
Okay.
Because Member Vault will allow you to do things like that. You have if you go to the product and lessons, when the lessons finish, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Then the last lesson, for want of a better word, could be, there we go. Yeah, could be, now you've completed this, would you like to come over and join the Facebook group? What that does is it gives you time to think about, not just, in all honesty, whether you've got time to manage a Facebook group alongside everything else, but also to think about, if you think, well, no, I think I could do that, is to be realistic about how often. So, some of the words, bless you were just using there were, oh, I could do something every week or what have you. If you're going to commit to that, you really have got to commit to that. One of the ways that I've done it with the membership site is, instead of saying, oh, there's going to be new content each and every whatever, is just say there's regular new content.
Right. Yeah.
So that I'm effectively not getting hoisted by my own petard. If I was to say, and every Monday you're going to get this, and then life gets in the way, and you think, oh crap, I haven't had the chance to do that this week. It puts you on the back foot. Whereas if you're just saying, yep, there is going to be regular content added to this all the time, you're not saying when, you're just saying it will be, and that then gives you a little bit of breathing space. So I'm not saying that a Facebook group's not a good idea, but I just wonder at the moment if you've got the time to be able to facilitate a Facebook group and a product launch.
Yeah. So I think that would probably be typical me, where I would try and do all that, and then it just wouldn't quite work.
Yeah, and I'm saying that because that's exactly what I'm thinking about. The coaching hub. It's very tempting to go, and here's this fabulous online community that you can come and join. But what if nobody does?
Yeah.
You've then spent all that time putting stuff together that nobody's looking at. So I would say absolutely think about an incentive to get people to want to get to be some of the first to book on. So think about whether or not you could offer either bonus content that's not going to take you very long to create, or it's going to give you, excuse me, hiccups again, the ability to get rid of some stuff that you've already got and make it a free bonus offer.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. Think about the Facebook group being something that you're then building after the product's launched, so that you're effectively going, when you have completed the course, then you're going to be asked if you'd like to come and join the Facebook group, and work it that way around, so you're not drowning under stuff to do right at the beginning.
Yeah.
But then the other really key bit is that the how and where you're going to market it. So do you have an active mailing list at the moment, Louise?
No.
Okay, alrighty. So you're looking mostly at your Facebook page and group then, aren't you, for visibility?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not going to surprise you what I'm going to say to you next. The other thing you really, really should try and commit to in the period of time before you go live with this is getting along to Saddle Up, because that is absolutely your perfect audience. We've got, how many have we got booked on already for next week? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. There's 18 booked on already for Monday.
Okay.
And what's also really good about that, Louise, is that out of those 18, 14 of them are brand spanking new. They're visitors, so they're new businesses.
Okay.
So it would absolutely be worth you thinking, right, in order to launch this product, first of all, I need to think about how am I going to launch that by talking to my Facebook group, which we can talk about in just a second, but also how can I come and talk about it? And that's where Saddle Up would be a really great place to do that, not only in the meeting, but also in the Saddle Up group.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, you know, that gives you another platform to be able to put that product in front of people. So when we were talking then about that particular module, I said, you know, throw a module at you, said building rapport. You are talking the language, you know, you are talking the same language that people in the Saddle Up group will understand.
Yeah.
And you can also then, you know, use that group to talk about exactly that. You know, one of the modules in my upcoming course is all about building rapport. What have your biggest challenges been when trying to build rapport with your horse? What you're not saying there is, my new course, which costs £30 and you can buy it here, it's the engagement, getting people to talk to you.
Yeah.
Building that engagement, which is really important, because then, for example, you know, you can say, well, you know, the first 20 people who sign up for this, when it goes live on Muller, you know, they're going to get whatever it is you've decided. Would you like to be one of those? Would you like me to put you on the list? You've still not actually said, buy my stuff.
No.
But what you do is go, you know, there's something in it for you if you want to be one of the first 20 to buy this. You know, would you like to be one of those? It's creating that little bit of exclusivity and FOMO.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that I think is the really key way of how to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's what people, yeah, you sort of think, well, yeah, I've seen that. That's what people do.
And I use a social media posting platform called SmarterQ. I'll send you a link so you can have a look round, because what I love about that is, you know, my regular marketing channel, the stuff that goes out all the time about free taster sessions and my 5-day challenges and all that kind of thing. Amanda deals with all of that, my VA. But there's also, you know, there's going to be stuff that I want to talk about that's not in that standard channel. And certainly at the moment, it's getting eyes on my Facebook page, which is where I'm going to make the announcement about my membership site. So what I love about SmarterQ, I mean, I did it yesterday, I'm going to do it again after I've talked to you and written your notes up, is I sat and spent half an hour creating and scheduling a daily post going out that was just an engagement post, an engagement or an info post. And not one of them says, I'm launching a membership site in February, would you like to be part of it? It's actually just about getting people to start to interact more with the page, so that when I'm ready to start talking about the membership site, I've got a group of people who are now not surprised when I start to get busier in the group, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
So what I've also got is a super little guide about things that you can post on Facebook for engagement. So I'll send you that as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, so it's like you're posting with thought and a purpose rather than just thinking, well, I should put something on Facebook because I haven't for a while. So
yeah,
that's yeah.
Exactly. And it also means that you don't have that feeling of, oh God, I've got all this to do. Do you know what I mean? It's that I've got to sit down and plan my social media. It's just like little chunks.
Yeah.
You know, eat the elephant one bite at a time, just by breaking it down into, okay, I can pop 5 posts up in about half an hour, schedule them, Smarter Queue, make it happen. Now, the other reason I use Smarter Queue is I can then repurpose it. So it will allow me to reschedule it. So I could say, for example, Monday at 2 o'clock, post this post to my Facebook page, and then add it again to the bottom of the queue. This is why it's called Smarter Queue, to the bottom of the queue, and repost that either till a specific date or for a specific number of times.
Okay.
So you're not having to reinvent the wheel all the time.
No.
And, you know, engagement posts work really well with that, because the question is, you know, is the same. So it's looking at things like, so one of the ones, for example, here has nothing to do necessarily with coaching, but it's a great engagement post. You know, calling all bookworms. I've just finished reading this book, and my 3 key takeaways I got from it were these. Tell me, what's one book you think I should add to my reading list? Nothing about buy my stuff, everything about come on and engage. Let's create engagement. It is not going to happen overnight. You have to be consistent. And like you, in the nicest sense, Louise, I took my eye off the ball with my Facebook page for the last couple of months at the end of the year, because I was just spinning so many plates. It was the one I dropped. Yeah. So rather than going in hot with a whole buy my stuff type thing in Facebook, which just, when it puts me off when I see it, it's like, I need to start that engagement again, build it slowly, so that when I'm ready to start talking about the membership platform, people aren't thinking, well, she's been quiet for the last 6 weeks until she wants me to buy something, and now look, she's all over the place. So I would very much keep that in your mind. In the whole, if your Facebook group's been a little bit quiet, start by going in there and just doing some engagement. Question posts are great. My favorite things are great. You know, that kind of thing, I think is an important way of getting there. Discovery posts are also quite good as well. Things like 3 things you might be surprised to learn about me, which allow you to talk about, you know, things that basically are related to some of the content of your course, but we're still not going buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff.
No. Okay.
Which is really good. So I think all of this really hinges on picking a sensible launch date. And I would say, looking at what we're talking about, going sort of maybe 3rd week in February gives you time to get this in front of the 10 people that you would like to test it out for you. But also, don't beat yourself up if you're thinking, I can't think of 10. You know, you just need people to put their eyes on the content that you trust will give you good feedback, and the ability to let you know if there's anything that needs changing.
Yeah.
Also then gives you time to do what we've just been talking about, start to get the energy back in your Facebook group by having some engagement posts in there. So that also gives you a chance to think about what you would want the sign-up bonus to be.
Yeah.
Sorry, quick slurp. And of course, the obvious bit gives you time to finish the last video, you know, dot the T's, cross the I's, as I always say, and then start to think about your marketing content, so that come the beginning of February, your engagement posts in the Facebook group can start to be interspersed with some marketing posts with that whole, if you'd like to be one of the first, the first 20 to buy the course from me, they're all going to get X or Y. Do you want to be one of the first? Then you need to pre-register, and that's either going to be, if you decide to take out an Office 365 description, here's a form, you just need to fill that in, or you need to send me an email. It's giving you time without constantly pushing this back into it will never happen mode.
Yeah, there's a fine balance.
There is. And sometimes all that it takes, if you like, is having that date in the diary and thinking, right, yes, I've got to work back from that now. Let's make that happen, and let's go ahead and make sure that we're good to go, so that you can create some excitement and energy around the product, actually not just for the people that you are hoping are going to buy it, but also for you.
Yeah.
So that you're excited at the point that you're ready to unleash it out there into the world, that you're thinking, right, yeah, I'm happy with this, let's make it happen, come on.
Yeah.
And then consistent, so that just same message all the time. Make Saddle Up part of your marketing on 2 levels, not just that you get to come and talk about the course, but you can also tell people that's where they can come and have a chat with you about it. So, if you've got the persistent question ask, will it be any good for me? What about, would I benefit from that? What you can do is say, why don't you come along to my networking group and we can have a 10-minute chat about it? Because visitors can come to Saddle Up for free, so they don't have to pay anything. And you can say to the GC before the meeting, Fred Bloggs has booked onto the meeting as my guest. Could I please have a one-to-one with him?
Yeah.
And that is a benefit to you in 2 really key ways. It stops you having the endless time wasters.
Yeah.
Wanting to have just a quick chat. Oh, could I'm not sure whether or not this course is right for me. Could we have a coffee and talk about it? Because actually, Louise, all that happens is they try and get you to tell them everything that's in the course for free.
Right. Yeah.
So you need to be shrugging them off. So something that you can think about around that as well is not only, as I say, using the Saddle Up meeting to promote the course, which is a no-brainer. You can use it as a place to say to people, if you want to have a chat with me and find out whether or not it's going to be right for you, why don't you join me at my networking group? You can come along for free and we can have a 10-minute chat, all that kind of stuff. It gives you that great platform to do it. And what you can also then do is start to think about building up some frequently asked questions. So if you start to get people going, I'm not sure if the course is going to be right for me, and the questions that they're asking, you can think, okay, so one of the more obvious frequently asked questions for anything like this is going to be, do I have to do it by a certain time? People get nervous about committing to a modular course and having to complete it in a certain amount of time. Yeah. So that's bound to be a frequently asked question. And of course, the answer effectively is no. Once you buy the course is yours. You can take as long as you like to complete it. You could sit and do all 6 modules in one day, or you could do them over 3 years. Doesn't matter. The content is yours as soon as you purchase the product. How long you decide to take to go through it is entirely up to you.
Yeah. Okay.
And that also means that you've got something to be able to follow those initial conversations up with, whether they're at networking or they're just in your Facebook engagements. Can you send me some more information? It's always a goodie, isn't it? And you're thinking, yeah. well, I can, but I don't want to send you more information if there's not a reason for sending you more information. So having a frequently asked questions sort of PDF, if you like, that has a really nice, clear call to action at the bottom of it, which is, if you would like to book your book your place on this course, this is where you need to go. Or, if you'd like to buy your course, this is where you need to go. And it can help stop you're always going to get some, but it will help stop some of the time wasters.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think in sort of
Is
order
there
of
anything
events.
else you would have in terms of if people are up? Because sometimes you sort of feel they say can add more info, and you think, well, I've put everything on it.
Yeah, the trouble is, you know what, it's what's really, I think, really interesting, because I completely get what you're saying, is the fact that, boy, oh boy, people are lazy.
Oh yeah.
So
they
you know, yeah, you know, you can say, take a look at my website. It will tell you all you need, everything you need to know. And the next thing you know, they come back with, but how much does it cost? You think, oh, for goodness sake. So, you know, that frequently asked question document could actually serve two purposes. It could be exactly that, frequently asked questions, and then bullet points about the course. What you've got to be really, really careful about is not giving away anything that somebody could lift and use as their own.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, you know, you can have the frequently asked questions, and then, you know, a what do you get type list.
Yeah.
So, you know,
because like on the course, I've got Word documents, a couple of Word documents for them to sort of fill in, which obviously I've said, because the idea is it's for coaching, equestrian coaches, for them and their clients sort of thing, and that if they wanted to use it with their clients, they could. But I suppose it's a fine line in terms of you're then, but I suppose that's what they're paying for, that you're giving them some content which they may go and.
yeah. But you could still give them that content, but give it to them in a PDF that they need to print.
Okay.
Rather than an editable Word document. So you just save it as a PDF. One of the options that you've got in MemberVault is I think, oh God, I've got to get this right. The lesson option, is it a lesson option or file, one or the other? Is that it will either open the document in a new window or automatically download. And I would go with automatically download if it's a PDF.
Okay.
You know, then you can print it off and fill it in, you know, as many times as you like, but you can't edit it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Because it's quite easy to create a PDF from a Word document, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's literally just a save as option.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, it is. So Office 2013, I'm sure it was. Where would you find it, just so that I know what I'm talking about? 1 second. So it might be, yeah, okay. So when you go to save as, or yeah, I'm sorry, I'm doing it in Word, which is why I'm waiting for it to catch up. You're either going to have save as and PDF is going to be an option, or you're going to have export and PDF will be an option.
So export. Oh yeah, create PDF, XPS.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the one. So that's the simplest way to do it, making sure that anything that you're giving people the opportunity to download is branded to within an inch of its life with all your stuff.
Right. So what, putting your logo and name and things on it?
So at the very least, I would make sure that the header and footer are populated. So the header with the name of the name of the course, the footer with your website, your contact number, that kind of stuff at the very minimum. You know, you have created it, so it's reminding them that is exactly the case. And creating that as a PDF just makes it a little bit more protected. I mean, if somebody's absolutely determined to, you know, fob it off as being their own, there's not much you can do about it. But every step that you can put into place that makes that, quite frankly, a faff means that they won't bother. It's too much hard work.
And like with the YouTube, I've just done them so that they're unlisted on YouTube, so they're not available unless you have the link. Which is obviously you get that through MemberVault, but you can't find it on YouTube unless you have the link, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Excuse me, froggy throat. Cool. So yeah, I think there's a fairly, it always seems a little bit overwhelming at this point. I know I felt certainly last week when I was thinking, holy moly, how am I going to get all this done? But what I did was actually do that whole let's work backwards from when I want to launch it. And I just put together a little, just a teeny little spreadsheet that basically, because it'll start, it kicks off for me, if you like, on Monday. So all I've got there is a 2-week program of promotion where I've got one thing to do each day.
Right.
Rather than thinking, I've got to do everything. It's just like, right, okay. So for example, on Monday, you are going to get an email as one of my coaching clients saying, from February, your coaching recordings, if you still have them, they're going to be in your account in Member Vault. Here's your here's your link. You get access to Member Vault for free. That kind of thing. That's one of the first steps. And then I've just put in there the whole stuff that's going out on social media. When I want to do a Facebook Live, going to do a couple of those. When I want to get a blog out there so that I've got something on my website talking about it. It just, I'll send you mine. You can have a look and see if it, rework it for what you want to do, because it just stops the overwhelm of thinking, oh my God, I've got so much to do, and just thinking, no, that's okay. What do I need to do today?
Yeah, well, that's what I found had helped in terms of having the first call with you, because I just felt when I have time to work on rider mentality, I sit down and I know exactly what I need to do. Whereas before, it was just like there's so much intake that, I might work away and then go away from it and think, well, I've just wasted time, So, I think having more focus and sort of coming back from Christmas thinking, oh God, I've got sort of all this stuff to do with the course, but then actually having a plan that I'd sort of put in place before Christmas and then working away on it and thinking, well, actually the content part hasn't taken that long. I think focus is key, and then you don't go into sort of panic worry, but not really with any idea what you're going to do. So
yeah, exactly. And it can be as detailed or as simple as you like, but it just helps to keep you on track, really, rather than it just becoming a great long list of things to do that immediately makes you completely overwhelmed and you just don't do it. I mean, it is the classic planning overwhelm problem that so many people have. They just create one great stream of consciousness, and then your brain just looks at it and goes, I can't do that.
No.
It's just like, nope, not doing that. Whereas if you break it down into chunks, one of the reasons why I really ought to take shares out in post-it notes is that, I write these sort of bits down. So as I say, on Monday, I've got 3 things to do on Monday around Member Vault. I will write 3 post-it notes and I'll stick them on the wall where I can see them. And then it'd be like, right, I'll take that one down when I've done it. And when I've got the 3 done, it's like, okay, great, good, done that. Now let's get on with, on Monday, networking at Saddle Up. Then I'm coaching people in the afternoon. So it's just that whole thing of just keeps me on track and stops me getting off target, but also doesn't overwhelm with, here is a list of 30 things you've got to do before the beginning of February to launch this website, to launch this membership site, because that's far too difficult. Whereas here are some jobs you can do each day over the next 2 weeks to get that ready to go is much easier.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think what I do from your perspective when we finish chatting in a few minutes is take a look with a clear view about when do I think I could launch this in February, because I was just throwing random dates at you, and then do exactly that. If for example you think, yeah, I reckon we're good to go on the, what day, let's have a look at February, Sheena. I reckon I could do this on the 15th of February, which is a Monday. Then you think, okay, so I'm going to work back from there. What do I need to do between the 15th of February and the 18th of January to get that done? If you look at it and think, realistically, it's going to be more like the 22nd, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then work back from that and think, okay, I've now got an easy to understand list of things to do that are broken down into 2 or 3 daily tasks, rather than an oh holy moly, how am I going to get this all done, what great long list in a wanna. And by doing it that way as well, by being able to mark things off as having been completed on a daily basis, it's so much more motivating than thinking, I didn't do that. Oh God, I didn't do that either. Oh yeah, no, didn't do that. It's like, no, I've done that, that and that today, which is exactly what I planned to do. Yay me, tick BG, get a gold star. I can then get on and do something else.
Yeah.
You know, and dip into it.
Trying to work through your to-do list.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, planning overwhelm's an absolute bugger. And that's just, you know, one of the easy ways to be able to combat it. Get all, you know, do think about all the things you need to do, but then think, right, I'm going to work backwards and I'm going to put a couple of jobs in each day. It's sort of project management 101 from back in the old days. When do I want to launch this product? When should I have started working on it? But you know, but it works.
Yeah.
You know, it works because it's simple. If I'm being brutally honest, you know, it doesn't overcomplicate things, and it just makes it easy to keep on track of you know, of what you need to do.
Yeah. Okay.
So the first thing that you need to do when we finish chatting is get yourself booked on Monday. Come and start talking to people about what you're putting together. And you know, you can just talk about the fact that you've got something really exciting that you're going to be launching in the next few weeks, that, you know, is going to take all of your experience of working with riders and with implementing NLP techniques. You know, you're just at the point where you're finalizing the vast bits of content. You know, if you'd like to find out more, let's have a chat.
Yeah.
You haven't even told them what it is yet.
No.
But it's a great place to start.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll just work out if I can sort horses out to get there for 11 o'clock.
Yeah, and come along and blow their minds and come and meet all these amazing people that are all booked on for the first time. Yeah, it's amazing. New team, you see, it's that whole thing of, you know, new team in place. They're absolutely smashing it.
Yeah.
And that's very exciting. So yeah, it's all good. It's going to be very busy.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been to one with that many.
And they haven't stopped yet. They're still, just whilst I've been talking to you, my phone's been pinging. They've obviously got more people they want me to book on. So it's going to be a good one.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Cool. So have you got a busy weekend lined up, Louise, or is it a little bit more relaxed?
Yeah, I mean, just normal things with horses, dog walks and stuff, but I think it will should be a bit more chilled out, which will be nice after a busy week. So yeah. What about you?
Yeah, similar thing. The weather's awful. I mean, you know, so any sort of idea of being out in the garden tomorrow is not going to happen. For a start, the garden's under about 4 inches of snow. I'm just going to have a very gentle pottering about, doing all those little bits and bobs jobs in the house that you sort of never get around to doing. And then I will probably just light the fire and sit and watch a bit of telly and do a bit of crafting and generally have a very relaxed day, which will be really nice.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
That'll be really good. Bless your heart. Okie dokie. So I will wait for the recording to come through. Obviously, it may well be this afternoon, but might not be. And as soon as it does, I will get that emailed over to you with your coaching notes and hopefully see you on Monday, and then look forward to finding out how you're getting on when we talk in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, and are we doing another one in January because of not doing one in December?
Let's have a look. I can't remember. Hold on a minute. What are we today? So that is that. Probably. I reckon you're the last week, aren't you? Yes. Yeah. 26th, last Tuesday of the month. So okay. Yeah, a couple of weeks time.
And is that at the same time?
That's your usual slot, if you like. So that's your 3 o'clock on the last. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, I'll write that down so I don't forget.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Okie dokie.
Okay, thanks very much.
No problem at all, Louise. Pleasure to chat to you, and I'll look forward to catching up with you soon.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Cheers, lovely. Bye bye.